Welcome to Jobo Nobody. Cyma M4 CQB with the MOSFET. Doohickey. There's two videos on this. This one was about to go out, and one of the wires came off for the mag terminals. Yay, get to pull it apart again. And then I had people tell me they want a video on how to pull it apart and so on. So that's what this one is. I'll make the other one, which will comprise of mostly me whinging about it. Mag out. Yeah. Stock. That adjusts it. Blah de blah. Everyone knows, or does now. Pull it down, take it off. No more stock. Yippee. If all you want to do is swap the spring out, we get our big long Phillips head, undo this buffer nut, which will remove your stock tube. Careful your wires, always careful. That off. I'm going to take the sling point off. All you're doing is changing a spring. Connect your battery. Now, because these are a 4-prong spring retainer, you can do this without the stock tube attached. Any blaster has a 2-prong retainer. Attach your stock tube, because otherwise your spring will bend, can wind up in your gears. Now, especially with your ETU MOSFET equipped blasters, 7-volt semi, that will be all the way forward, no problem. Doesn't have a MOSFET, then do it with a 7-volt that's not good, and you'll get the same effect. Now, how I remove a spring retainer, let's see if we can get this somewhat on camera. Put that into the hole, and then I use a flathead in the grooves just to aid in turning it. Push in. These are twist 45 degrees, and there's your spring. This one has an M100 in it. Done. You then push that back in 45 degrees, have fun putting your buffer tube on, because that's one of my most hated things about M4s, and spring change is done. Now, moving on. These are a 3mm X. Undo front. I then just use this is a 1.5mm, but anything smaller than probably 2 will do. Just gentle tap, sharp, gentle tap, and that'll come out. Now this, because this has your bolt release, fake bolt stuff, you will have to remove this at this point. You can do it before, you can do it after taking the upper off. Give it like a 1.5mm, push it from the front, whoop, straight out, yippee. Now you will see it's tapered toward the front, so it can't push all the way through, and knurled at the back to hold it in. Then just pull that out. Hooray. Now, getting it out, because it's got the fake bolt nonsense, it does like to hang up on it a bit. Jiggle your charging handle a bit to get it to start sliding back. Now, go there. The way I've found is easiest with this is to sort of get your fingers under here, and combination of sliding it forward and a little bit of charging handle jiggle, that gets that off. Nice. Yeah, while we're here, do ourselves a favor and remove the mag release. There are 2 types of Phillips we're using here, basically number 1 and number 2. Number 2 stock tube, number 1 for that. Spring out, does pay. If you don't want to lose that, to screw that back in. I'm not going to, because I'm going to have this part and back together in fucking no time. We're now down to the grip. Yeah, again with the number 1 Phillips, 2 screws. Hold your thumb on the base plate, because otherwise it will come off on the piss. You don't want that. You want it to come out straight. Tilt it forward. There's your... Fucking hate these discs, but don't lose that. Motor wires. My preferred method is I have these pliers. You can use others. You can use anything. You don't want to squeeze. You just want to sort of lever up and pull out generally is easiest from the outside of the motor. Sometimes just the way the grip is, you'll have to go from the inside. Paste to keep a bit of heat shrink on hand. Yeah. Where these wires are mounted are different because it has a different MOSFET in it now. Story for the other video, but disassembly is the same. Back to number 2 Phillips for the grip screws. And when you do these up, you're gonna just get them tight, get all of them in, and then, you know, tighten them up. They don't have to be super tight. In fact, with a nylon box, you don't want them to be super tight, just taut. Throw your screws. What I like to do with the screws from the motor, attach them to the motor. It's things you do to remember things. Where possible, it does help to leave your screws in the thing they come out of, or at least next to the thing they come out of. These are all the same, so not a big deal. Give that a wiggle. Attach screws to the motor. Yeah, don't just rip your grip off. Wires are bent over, so pull them up till it hits the terminal, twist, shove your finger up the thumb, and pull that out. Fuck yeah. Same with the other one. The light's more in your favour than mine. You may have to twist your grip back and forth to get the right angle, but back to our 3mm Allen key. Not captive in any way, so put some pressure on this side. Good, it's if it is a bit bound, try and really just sharp movement to jar it out. I just don't know why manufacturers do this, where they just put a dome on one side. Yeah, it looks better, but it's a fucking pain in the ass if that bolt's bound. That can help put a bit of grease on that, but then it can vibrate out while you're using it. Get a die grinder and just cut a slot in the top. Or my favoured method is, on all my blasters, I just replace these bolts with ones that have a slot or an Allen key in them. It's just better. Yeah, this came out that way, so there's a good chance this goes out that way. As a rule of thumb, one goes in one way, one goes in the other. Push it out. This one's not too bad. Sometimes you may have to get your screwdriver on it, and I just use another screwdriver and just give it a whack. Easy. Getting this out, bit of a wiggle jiggle. If you do have trouble getting a V2 gearbox out, switch to about there, and then it'll allow it to pry up from the back. Hurrah! Alright, we're almost halfway. Now, because of this fake blowback, think a little bit different way pulling it apart. You don't have to remove that. I do like how they've cut this out so you can get to that screw. Thank you, Cyma. One of the few things I prefer about this box over some other brands. I believe every screw here can be done with a number 1 Phillips. I start with these 2. And this will go with any plastic box that's got blowback attached to it. Undo these 2, that little screw. Then this one's kind of held behind there. You'll have to hold it back just to get to it. There. Dun, dun, dun. There, that's those 2 gone. At this point, while it's back and you're holding it, why not get this front one? That's right. Box of 1,000 different screws. Number 2 Phillips for these. Now this one is screwed into this blowback piece. We're going to leave that there for now. Holding this is no longer attached. Pull your bolt release down, slide forward. Because of this piece, these are a bit of a prick. There's a nut which is not in any way captive and will fall out. Undo that. And I found that nut just falls out, so take it out now. How I've set the screws up are, I just line them up like the shape of the box. That way I put the same screw back in the same hole. Yeah. One thing that will differ from a regular Cyma box is this one now has a mechanical safety. So if you've bought a Cyma with a MOSFET, ignore this particular screw because it won't exist. It exists on this one. Watch the other video if you want to fucking find out. This whole thing still has a big long spring in it, so don't go. We've undone the top screws. This one can just come out. It doesn't matter, mate. And this one, for reassembly, is a little bit different, but disassembly, take it out. Now, if this were a metal box, you'd have to undo these screws slightly. It's a plastic box, so you've got fingernail, hold your spring forward, like that. And then I just use this finger to sort of spread the box a little. And what you're trying to do is lift it up. Try and get it on camera, a bit hard. Alternatively, you can just do this, spread it, there we go. Just finger it until it spreads it enough to get this out. This will then just slide out. And this. And this part, you have to spread the front to pull out. Yeah, not that hard, but a little bit annoying, a few extra steps. Then it would be undo these screws. But what I am going to do is, the rest of this is like any other gearbox. Blah, 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 blah. What I will do is show you how I assemble this annoying setup. Get these three screws in. This won't fit unless it's spread a little, so hold your cylinder, just gently spread that, drop it down. That's in. And we have our guide rod, and this piece is not symmetrical. It has a bit of a lip on one side. That likes to go to top right hand side of the box. Yeah, you'll see the little notch inside there. Okay, it's rubber, so you can just chuck it in. Use something to squash it right up to the front. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Oh dang, get this screw. You don't want it all completely tight, but you do want it in there. You want it to hold this piece in. Guide rod goes through this, and then, and I hope this is helping someone. To get this in here, and this is another thing you can't do with a metal box, but you can do with a nylon box, which is delightful in itself because these are a bit of a pain. Now, tilt it up, springs on, push that to the front, use your fingers, bring this all the way, bring it as far forward as you can, using this finger to spread the rear. Whoop. No, that easy. Before you close it up, just make sure that spring is free. Use your fingernail or something to pull it there, make sure that's squeezed in, and we're good to go. Reassemble, play the video in reverse, put it back together. Easy. That bit's the only real challenge for anyone here. The rest is very similar to any other Cyma. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna do the thing with this, and thanks for watching. Hope this helps. I'm gonna disassemble it, take photos of stuff, arrange your bits. When I take screws out, I basically make a shape of a gearbox up here. Yeah, just that way the same screw goes back in the same hole. Anywho, cheers for watching. Like, share, subscribe. There might be more actual helpful videos, and they'll be more entertaining because it's that. Yeah, I have more fun doing that anyway. Cheers.